Chapter 10. It was early morning and the sun had not yet shown its face. Okei was awake, listening to muffled sounds coming from the ceiling. She heard footsteps on the stairs and someone calling, "Schnell-san! Schnell-san! Come quickly! Please hurry!" And Okei jumped out of bed, swiftly wrapped herself in her yukata, went to the door, and opened it just a crack. Trouble, yes, but what could it be? Kuninosuke continued to knock rapidly on Herr Schnell's bedroom door. "What is it?" asked Herr Schnell, as he opened the door slightly. Now she could hear Matsu enter the hallway too. "Hurry, Schnell-san! The men are sick, very sick!" Kuninosuke went back upstairs, Matsu right behind him. Herr Schnell shut the door, but soon came out fully dressed. As soon as he left his room, Okei followed, determined to find out what was happening. Her eyes quickly adjusted to the morning light. She followed Herr Schnell up the stairs and down the long hallway to the room where the workers slept. Okei stepped into the room right behind Herr Schnell and immediately reeled backward. The stench of sickness was intense. Vomit was everywhere, on the floor, on futon, on the men. Most of the workers on the farm slept in this large room, and they were all sick. Some were lying on futons shivering, moaning, and sweating profusely. Others were doubled over with pain and nausea. The room reeked of illness. Okei felt sick just looking at them. Dr. Takano washed and dried his hands. He headed toward Herr Schnell, stepping around men and bowls of vomit. "I have never seen anything like this," he said. "It seems as though the only ones who are sick are those who are working in the fields." And he wiped his forehead with the back of his hand. A sign of bewilderment, thought Okei. She looked at the men and held back the taste of bile that filled her throat. The doctor's eyes swept the room as he told them what had happened. "The men started getting sick very early this morning, at first 1 or 2 of them, and then it was as though thunder struck them all at the same time, vomiting, pain, temperatures high. It does not appear to be food poisoning, but I do not know what the problem is." He spoke again to Herr Schnell. "First, we must try to get their fevers down. My wife will help me. I want all the workers to stay in this room. Nobody else will be allowed to come in here until we know why they are so ill." The doctor glanced at Okei, standing in the doorway, and then said, "Schnell-san, I would like Okei to assist us. She was very competent on the boat." Okei's stomach still churned with a feeling of nausea. She turned away, holding her breath, getting her emotions under control. She looked at Herr Schnell and nodded. Yes, she would help the doctor. Herr Schnell gave his permission and returned to his family. The next day he too was sick with the same illness. All planting stopped. Those who were not sick helped with the basic needs of running the farm, tending vegetable gardens, caring for animals, and preparing meals. The Japanese diet was a simple one, and the farm supplied most of their needs. Herr Schnell had brought more than a year's supply of rice to the colony. Chickens were plentiful. The men had built a pond when they first arrived, and the fish in the pond were thriving too. The doctor, his wife, and Okei soaked clothes in herb mixtures and rubbed them on the patient's arms and legs, but temperatures would not come down. The Japanese medicines did not help. Herb teas did not help. The men continued to shake with chills and drench themselves in their own sweat. Okei washed blankets and clothes and hung them outside to dry, not wanting anyone else in the household to handle them. At times she was so tired she could think of only what she must do physically for the men, washing their room and their clothes constantly. There seemed to be no end to it. Dr. Takano and his wife were doing everything they could, but still the men were sick. None of the women became ill. A few of the men were feeling slightly better after a few days, including Herr Schnell. The doctor looked pleased. "This is good," he said. "Now maybe the others will improve too. Our medicines must be working." But the medicines were not helping, and the others did not improve. The men were so weak that Okei was frightened for them. Finally, the exhausted doctor spoke to Herr Schnell. "Schnell-san, I can do nothing more. I fear some of the men will die if we do not get help." It was now more than a week later. Herr Schnell nodded in agreement and said, "We will see if Mr. Vierkamp can help us. I will send Matsu to his farm." Matsu took the small wagon and drove swiftly to the neighbor's farm, returning a few hours later with Mr. Veerkamp and his oldest son Henry and a local doctor. The doctor entered the room, took a good look at the workers, and said, "These are the men who are working in the fields, eh? Looks like your workers have a good case of what we call country fever. Those mosquitoes are nasty little devils. They've brought down stronger men than yours, but we'll cure them." And he set his well-worn medicine bag down on the floor, opened it, and took out a large bottle of dark-colored liquid. Together, the two doctors began treating the patients. Okay could not believe how fast the men responded. Within 2 days, the vomiting and chills stopped. The men were able to eat again. They were able to sit up, and though still very weak, began to regain their strength. Within 3 weeks of the first illness, every single man was better.